Sai Ram. Every automobile manufacturer conducts what is called as the collision test or the crash test for all the passenger vehicles, especially the cars. This is done in order to determine whether the car is safe for all the passengers within. So, a dummy is strapped to the driver's seat because usually it is a dummy behind the wheel that causes accidents. And then this car is made to go in full speed, say 80 to 90 miles an hour, and crash against a solid obstacle, often a wall. And then, based on the damages to the dummy, the safety of the car is determined. It is only when the minimum safety standards have been passed that the car would be allowed to be sold. Now, when you happen to purchase one such car, you can't go to the manufacturer or the dealer and say, I know that your cars have been crash tested, but what about this particular car that I am buying? How do I know that it is safe? If you were to subject every car to the crash test, then you will have no cars to drive. You understand that logic, and therefore you purchase the car without that car having been subjected to the crash test. The logic that we accept when it comes to crash test of cars, we don't seem to follow when it comes to God. When it comes to God, we want God to come to our rescue each and every single time at the point in time that we want. We never seem to develop faith. God is so loving that He gives us an opportunity not just for 1 or 2 or 3, but for multiple crash tests. But at some point of time or the other, we need to develop faith. Here I would like to narrate a beautiful episode that built and reinforced my faith in Swami, that He is the indweller of my heart, that He knows every thought and feeling that courses through my heart. I still remember the day vividly. It was the 22nd of July 1998. I was studying in 11th grade and the 5th or 6th period at school was biology practicals. That day the theme for our practicals was the hemometer. The hemometer is a device that helps us determine the hemoglobin levels in our blood. It's a pretty simple apparatus. There is a calibrated glass tube in which there is a red colored liquid. Beside it is another tube in which you have to put a measured amount of your blood and then dilute it with distilled water till the color of the liquids in both the tubes match. That is when you take the readings and get to know what is the hemoglobin level in your blood. We were 14 of us in the batch, and the first to go for this experiment was a lad who wasn't particularly well built. He was a little short in height as well. Now, when he did the experiment, his hemoglobin levels came 14.3. We had been told by the teacher that men usually have between 14 to 16 and women usually have between 11 to 14. These are considered as good for them. Now, I thought that if this puny tiny little boy could get 14.3, mine would surely be something like 16. But then when I tested my blood for the hemoglobin levels, it came 11.7. And I was shocked. Oh my God, at a hemoglobin level, I was a woman. I wasn't a man also. I got very scared. I didn't know what it meant. And unfortunately, the teacher also didn't explain what it meant to have a lower hemoglobin level. I waited for everybody's results to come. And to my shock, I realized that in the entire class of 14, I had the lowest hemoglobin level. I felt that there was something wrong with my hemometer. Though the bell rang and all the students were leaving, I told one of my classmates, please stay back, let me try in your hemometer. And then in the other hemometer, I checked, and this time my levels came 11.5. Oh my God, worse than before as well. I was really upset and even scared. What was it that I was suffering from? I was having such low hemoglobin. Was it cancer? Or was it something even more dreadful? Will I remain alive for days, weeks, months? All these questions began to pester and bother me. As I said earlier, the teacher didn't explain what it meant to have a low hemoglobin level, and foolish as I was, I also didn't confide my fears to the teacher. I was just thinking about how I will be telling this to my parents. What will they feel when they get to know that their son is suffering from a dreaded disease, that he may not live to see too many years or too many months? In this state of mind, I decided to seek help from my God, from my Bhagwan, from Swami. I wrote a letter to Swami. In that letter, I told him about my deepest fears. Now, this was that point of time in the year when the hostel anniversary was coming close. And therefore, for the past 1 week before July 22nd itself, the theme in the mandir for the students was, Swami, please come to the hostel. Swami, please come to the hostel. It was an unwritten rule that any student who got an opportunity to interact with Swami would use that opportunity to invite Swami to the hostel and ask for nothing else. My mind was so worried. I was so tense. I desperately wanted to ask Swami about my own health, my hemoglobin levels. More than anything else, I wanted him to give me vibhuti. I felt that if Swami gave me vibhuti, then everything would be fine. I don't care how bad or how horrible was the disease that I was suffering from, but since Swami has given vibhuti and that vibhuti has entered my body, nothing can touch me. Well, reminds me of that video that I did on the power of vibhuti, the magnificent power of vibhuti. If you have not seen it so far, please check it out in the link above. With this mindset, we all went to the mandir. Now, the school students reached the mandir much earlier than the university students, and Swami came out for darshan early that day. Therefore, we ran and occupied all the first lines in the students' area. Everybody was whispering among each other, hey, let us tell Swami to come to hostel. Let's all pray together for Swami to come to the hostel. As I heard this, I just felt that there was no way I could get up in that crowd when everybody is going to ask Swami, come to hostel, and tell Swami, Swami, give me vibhuti because I'm suffering from hemoglobin deficiency and I don't know how long I'll live. As Swami came close, all the students got up on their knees and began to tell Swami, please come to the hostel. Swami, the hostel is here. Swami, hostel anniversary. Swami, we want you to come to the hostel. Different ways of saying the same thing. I also got up on my knees and I also said, Swami, please come to the hostel. And I stretched out my letter. In my mind praying, Swami, please accept this letter and read and give me vibhuti. Swami, if you give me vibhuti, I'll sleep peacefully tonight. Otherwise, I'll sleep with the worry and fear that I may not get up tomorrow morning because I am having very low hemoglobin. Girls level hemoglobin. This was running in my head. I get smiles and laugh even now. But Swami's response was something very placid and calm. He kept telling all the boys, sit down, tomorrow, sit down, tomorrow. And that's what he said even as he passed by me. He just said, tomorrow, and he walked on. Neither did he take my letter, nor did he give me vibhuti. I sat back in my place, a bit disappointed and wondering what I should do next. Swami walked a little ahead and began to speak to a devotee. Then he moved a step behind and began to circle his right palm. This was a sign that Swami was about to materialize vibhuti. And in those days, the students had the privilege and chance to run up to Swami and offer a handkerchief to him whenever or wherever he materialized vibhuti. The apparent objective was to assist Swami and help him wipe his hands clean. Well, the hidden agenda, not so hidden, was to get Swami's vibhuti on this piece of cloth and then take this handkerchief and possibly keep it in the altar for worship. That day, as Swami began to wave his palm to materialize vibhuti, I got up with the handkerchief in my pocket and rushed towards Swami. I was the first to reach him. I had the handkerchief on my hand and I was offering it to him. Swami turned and looked at me. Even as our eyes met, I almost began to cry. I felt that if Swami did not give me vibhuti, I may not be there to see the next day, and this possibly was my last darshan. Swami, Swami, I tried to say, but Swami just wiped his hand and told me, po, 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 meaning go, go, go. I was a bit surprised and taken aback at why was Swami so eager or keen to tell me to go back. He was almost dismissing me. Anyway, he said it, and there's no way I can disobey it. So I just got up and returned to my place. Now a tear formed in my eye. I was feeling sad and scared. As Swami walked ahead, I decided to fold that handkerchief and keep it in my pocket. That was when I bent down, and what I saw replaced those hot tears of sorrow with happy and cooling tears of joy. What I saw was that Swami had not wiped his hand on the handkerchief that I had offered him. I had not noticed, but he had skillfully moved the handkerchief and applied all the vibhuti on my hand. I just licked the vibhuti, felt strengthened, felt so strong, and I knew for sure that I would live to see another day. It's been more than 2 decades now. Even to this day, my hemoglobin level reads anywhere between 11.5 to 11.7. I had done the experiment back then precisely and perfectly. Today I know that having low hemoglobin in the blood is no big deal. But that day what Swami did, he read the innermost recesses of my heart. He recognized the fears and troubles that were harassing me. They were nothing to the world, but they were the world to me, and therefore they were the world to him as well. And he responded. He responded in his omniscience. I didn't even have to tell him about my fears. That faith continues to stay strong in my heart even to this day. I know when things are getting rough and I feel enough's enough, all I have to do is say his name and see his form and hold on. I know that when dark clouds fill my skies and hide sunshine from my eyes, I just need to say his name and see his form and hold on. Hold on to Sai Ram. Swami is always by my side, even as he is, as I'm giving this satsang. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.